Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we slice through your sources to get to the heart of what's really going on.
Hey there.
Today we're getting into a situation that really blew up online. It mixes huge digital influence with, well, ancient history.
Yeah, we're looking at the controversy around MrBeast, the massive YouTuber, and a video he put out about visiting some major archaeological sites down in Mexico.
Our source for this is a CNN article that covered the whole incident and the reactions it stirred up. And our mission today, to really unpack the facts presented in this source, try to understand the different sides of the controversy and figure out, why this became such a big deal. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the central figure here is Jimmy Donaldson, MrBeast. I mean, anyone online knows the name. He's literally the most subscribed YouTuber globally. Huge reach.
Just massive. And this specific video, the source points out, it dropped on May 10th.
Right.
And it wasn't small. CNN reported that by May 14th, only 4 days later, it already had over 55 million views.
Wow. That's incredibly fast.
Tells you the kind of eyeballs we're talking about here.
Absolutely. And the video itself, it showed MrBeast and his crew exploring some really iconic, historically vital spots in Mexico.
Which one specifically?
The source names Chichén Itzá in Yucatan. That's where you find the temple of Kukulkan, El Castillo, one of the modern seven wonders.
Right, the famous pyramid.
Exactly. And also Calakmul in Campeche and Balancanche, which is also in Yucatan.
So he wasn't just taking selfies outside. The CNN report says the video showed them right around Kukulkan, but also inside other buildings and exploring cenotes and temples.
Yeah, and that's really key because the source notes that some of these specific spots they were shown in, they aren't normally accessible to the public, at least not permanently.
Ah, okay, so that's where the friction starts.
Precisely. That access, or the appearance of unrestricted access to these sensitive areas, that seems to be what really sparked the controversy. Based on the CNN report, people started asking how the super famous YouTuber got into places considered sacred, places with tight restrictions.
And didn't MrBeast himself kind of play that up in the video? The source mentioned a quote.
He did. CNN included it. He apparently said something like, "I can't believe the government is letting us do this. It's truly crazy. Not even archaeologists are allowed in here."
Oof, that's a bold claim. Not even archaeologists.
Definitely caught people's attention, saying you have access that even the experts don't allegedly get. That's bound to make waves. So naturally, Mexico's official response was pretty important.
Right. What did the agency in charge, INAH, say?
So INAH, that's Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History, under the Ministry of Culture, they put out a statement. This was Monday, May 12th, according to the source.
Did they deny it happened?
No. They confirmed the visit and the recording did happen. But they stressed it was done through formal requests.
Okay, formal requests. But who made them? Was it MrBeast's company?
That's an interesting point in the source. INAH said the request didn't come from him directly. It came from the Federal Ministry of Tourism and also the state governments of Yucatan and Campeche.
So higher up government channels.
Seems so. And the source notes this actually matches MrBeast's own video description, which apparently called it a collaboration with the Mexican Ministry of Tourism.
Okay, so it wasn't some rogue visit. It involved government ministries facilitating it. Did it go even higher?
It looks like it reached the presidential level. On Wednesday, May 14th, the source says President Claudia Sheinbaum commented.
And what was her take?
She confirmed, yes, there were permits for the broadcast, but, and this is important, she asked INAH to report back on the exact conditions of those permits.
Ah, so questioning the terms of the access.
Right. And she added that if INAH found the permit was violated, they should figure out and apply sanctions. So the access was greenlit initially, but how it was used was definitely under review.
Okay. And beyond just being there, were there specific things in the video that INAH disputed?
Yes, the CNN article mentions a few key points INAH pushed back on.
Like what?
Well, one big one was a drone shot. It apparently looked like it was filmed from inside the temple right at the top of the El Castillo pyramid.
Inside the structure.
That's how it appeared. But INAH stated very clearly that shot did not happen inside. They said it was recorded from outside the temple.
So maybe some clever editing or camera angles making it look that way?
That's what INAH seemed to imply. They also addressed other parts of the video, like scenes suggesting the group arrived by helicopter near the sites, or that MrBeast was holding a real ancient pre-Hispanic mask.
And INAH said?
They said the video used extensive audio-visual post-production work. and that it alludes to events that did not occur.
Alludes to events that did not occur. That's diplomatic.
Very. They flatly denied those specific things happened, saying the producers never descended from a helicopter, spent the night inside the archaeological site, or possessed a pre-Hispanic mask. They added the mask shown was clearly a contemporary reproduction.
So, not authentic.
Not according to INAH. They basically called these bits false assertions that reflect the theatricality of the YouTuber in question.
Theatricality. That word again. It really highlights the clash, doesn't it? The performance versus the preservation.
It does.
But let's circle back to that quote. Not even archaeologists are allowed in here. How true is that? How hard is it to get into these restricted zones?
Well, INH did confirm their own staff supervised the whole thing.
Okay.
And about access to areas not always open. INH gave an example, the substructure of Structure 2 at Calakmul. They said, yes, it's not permanently open, but you can get access.
Oh.
By arranging a scheduled visit in advance and with justification. They mentioned things like tours involving local communities as an example of justification.
Okay, so it's not impossible, just requires a specific process and a good reason. That kind of undercuts the not even archaeologists line a bit, doesn't it? Experts could potentially get in under the right circumstances.
Exactly. It's restricted, controlled, but not a total lockout for everyone, always. And the CNN article mentions the legal framework here too. Mexico's federal law on archaeological monuments.
What does that say?
Basically, that actual work, like digging or exploration, is mostly limited to INAH itself, or specifically approved scientific or moral institutions, and always needs explicit authorization.
In Article 31, the source adds, says those authorizations have to spell out the terms, conditions, obligations. It's all very formalized.
Right, and to show how tight that access usually is, especially inside structures like Kukulkan, the source brings up a citizen information request from back in September 2024.
What did that reveal?
The response from the director of Chichén Itzá itself stated that any work inside that pyramid is done only by INAH or other approved bodies, strictly following that law.
So giving a YouTuber access, even with permits, seems like a pretty significant departure from the norm for those kinds of spaces.
It certainly appears that way based on the standard procedures outlined. It paints a really complex picture. You've got the high-level permits, the presidential review, these factual disputes over the video's content, and this underlying legal reality of very restricted access.
Definitely complex. Did INH have anything positive to say, or was it all criticism?
Interestingly, their statement wasn't entirely negative about the impact. While they called the info distorted, they also floated the idea that the video's huge reach may motivate interest among young audiences to learn about our ancestral cultures and visit archaeological sites.
Huh. So, acknowledging the flaws, but seeing a potential upside in raising awareness, especially with young people MrBeast connects with.
Yeah, kind of a pragmatic, if cautious, view on the potential PR benefit.
But was everyone in the government on that same page?
Apparently not. The source highlights the federal culture secretary, Claudia Sheinbaum. Her reaction was much sharper.
What did she say?
She was quoted pretty forcefully. Of course, we don't agree. And of course, there will be appropriate sanctions because that's not what these spaces are for.
Wow, okay. So a very different tone. No silver lining seen there.
Not at all. Her stance was clear. These sites aren't the place for this kind of activity. Potential tourism boost or not. A real split in perspective within the government.
Interesting. And the source mentioned CNN tried to get MrBeast's side of the story.
They did reach out, yes. But the article doesn't include any response from him about the controversy itself. It focuses mainly on the situation and reactions within Mexico.
Okay. So, stepping back, what does this whole deep dive into the CNN source tell us?
Well, it shows how a single viral video, amplified by enormous reach and, let's say, theatrical presentation, can suddenly ignite a major debate. It pulls in government agencies, legal frameworks for heritage protection, and these big questions about how sacred history gets portrayed online.
And it clarified that accessing these sites, even for someone huge like MrBeast, wasn't just walking in. It involved formal government requests, high-level involvement. It wasn't quite the even archaeologists can't get in scenario because there are pathways for access, just very controlled ones.
Exactly, and it really exposed that tension, didn't it? Within the government itself, how do you balance the lure of global promotion from influencers against the core mission to protect these sites and ensure their story is told accurately?
Yeah, that conflict seems central. It demonstrates just how fast online content can run up against deep cultural values and legal lines, triggering official investigations and debate.
A really potent example of those worlds colliding.
Definitely. So here's something to maybe chew on after this. In this age where a video can show a place to millions instantly, how do we manage that? How do societies use that incredible reach to share and promote cultural treasures while making absolutely sure the narrative respects the deep history, the culture, the sacredness of these ancient places? Finding that right balance feels trickier than ever.